Hello everyone, welcome to today's thrilling story. He recognized the girl at once and invited her and two friends to share a table. When he wanted to toast the brothers, he found their pockets were as empty as his jokes, so he slammed the table, and the nearby drinkers immediately tensed up, grabbing their knives. As they approached the table, even the regulars freaked out and scattered, while the man stopped his goons from getting close, and they started bickering loudly. In the following days, the bar owner greeted the three brothers warmly and urged them to sit and drink. He specially trained his crew on how to serve, and they quickly fit right in. But with all the wild nightlife, the brothers were starting to feel the burn. Subtitles: daytime found them dozing off, often asleep the moment they closed eyes. As dusk neared, the boss sent his men over. The party started for the brothers at the bar. After the crew showed off their various weapon skills, the brothers curiously asked them if they carried firearms. The owner immediately got the crew to demonstrate, only to awkwardly realize no one brought any. The boss initially intended for his team to share their rise to fame tales. In school, he worked at a relative's juice shop, but his cousin took his college money. He invested in stocks, dropped out of school, and later, the stock soared, yielding a 40-fold return. The brothers realized the story seemed like a kid's fairy tale. Later, the owner drove them home. He told them the real version. He did work at that juice shop, but outside there were roaming goons ready to cause trouble. The owner, armed with a megaphone, left thugs scrambling for their teeth. Big Boss Reddy saw his youth, so the owner became his apprentice. He successfully joined Reddy's gang, and it was clear he lived up to Reddy's expectations as he started from the bottom and worked his way up. To fend off a 30-man attack, he managed to fight his way through and take down the enemy leader all by himself. Though his fighting skills were impressive, his mother didn't want him to go down that path, so she made him leave the gang. From that point on, he chose to fight solo and eventually bounced back to become a big boss. Stories like this came in several versions, all recounted by different little brothers. The three brothers were getting tired of it, having no idea how strong their gang really was, so they suggested they wanted to take part in a fight, but the owner flat out refused. When the brothers considered backing out, the owner made a call, inviting them to come and watch a fight at 9 p.m. The brothers' excitement reignited as they checked out the owner's mansion and learned how he got rich. The assistant noted. The owner felt that buying useless land was a mistake, but luckily it was later plotted to become an airport. After dressing up, the owner and others drove to the destination, where he waited for the guys harassing his daughter. After knowing the situation, the boss had his men unarmed and sent tough guys. While this was happening, the owner was directing his men from the sidelines, not needing to lift a finger. Brothers were a little confused by the owner's actions, so the assistant explained that the owner's mother had strongly urged him to leave the gang back. He didn't comply as his mother died suddenly, hitting him hard, hence he stopped fighting. This time, the owner personally drove the brothers home, and while they were bored, they stumbled upon one of his short videos. They watched with friends, soon laughing heartily. Now, the owner vowed to have his men provide firearms. When the owner pulled out a handgun, he found that it was so old, the candy had gone stale. As he struggled to chamber a round, he accidentally set it off, using up all the remaining bullets. Some returned to the bar, seeing the owner's ordeal. The brothers approached curiously. Suddenly, he took off his shirt. He showed off the scars on his back, leaving the intoxicated brothers bewildered, but the big boss had a huge scar on his back. Brothers chose to forgive the friend who deceived them, and when the owner asked why his men were so ruthless, the assistant casually explained that when the owner's land was planned for an airport, he had to get rid of his cousin and buried him right in the kitchen. The assistant gave a detailed account. Honestly, it's worth saying, he only joined the organization 5 years ago and didn't know much about the owner's past. They just added to the fun here. He invited everyone for a toast, and all three brothers got totally wasted. When the owner took them to the hotel, a messenger brother said it might disturb rest, so the owner packed their bags. He tucked them into bed, and the next day, the owner called to wake them up. Following the owner's directions, they found the kitchen filled with plum wine and cigarettes, causing their jaws to drop in happiness. The brothers were thrilled, and the owner even arranged for a motorcycle for them. As the three brothers rode back to school, they were surrounded by a crowd, and the boss asked for their help. They had no choice but to grit their teeth. Tonight, they inadvertently ran into someone at the bar who started mouthing off without any warning. The owner smashed a beer bottle. His men silenced the guy. The brothers saw his reaction and knew things had escalated. The brothers sat at the table remembering how they were locked in the dark room by their upperclassmen, sparking anger from the owner. He also felt vengeful towards the hierarchy, but Pei didn't budge. Instead, he called the owner over. suggesting that the upperclassman was a genius, which could make things better. The owner agreed, thinking it was a good idea. On the expected weekend, he brought only 3 men. The brothers felt anxious. If they were outnumbered, would they still win? But there was no other option.